As the gruesome fighting in Ukraine gets worse by the day, the entire world is seeing the graphic footage. Women, children, students, innocent civilians are being brutalized, lacerated by shrapnel, gutted by Russian machine gun fire, and reportedly vaporized by vacuum bombs. The carnage unleashed by Russia's war machine is sparing no one, as they've brought large-scale conventional combat back to Europe for the first time since the Blitzkrieg. Back then, in the late 1930s and early 40s, the world was facing a different kind of evil. Hitler had taken control of Germany and was pushing his tanks across the continent. But in the face of real villainy, true leaders emerged. And perhaps there was no greater European leader than Winston Churchill. After Poland and France fell to Germany, all that stood in the way of Hitler's European dominance was England and their fearless prime minister. And with an unwavering belief in his people, Churchill rallied Britain, and they never gave in.
We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
Hard times create strong leaders, and Churchill was among the strongest. But as our eyes turn back to Ukraine, another fearless leader has emerged to give his people the faith they need to fight back in hard times. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the comedian who became a president, has become the face of Ukraine's resistance. And he is having his Churchillian moment. When the fighting began and the bombs started to fall, he could have fled to safety in the West, but he refused to abandon his people.
We are all here. Our soldiers are here, the citizens are here, and we are here. We defend our independence. That's how it'll go.
The importance of Zelenskyy to his people cannot be understated. The more intense the fighting gets, the more powerful his message of defiance becomes. Every day, the people are rallying around his words.
Think of this number. Almost 6,000 Russians died. To get what? Get Ukraine? It is impossible. This is not to be changed by missiles, bombs, tanks, any blows. Today, you, Ukrainians, are a symbol of invincibility.
And the whole world is picking up what Zelensky's putting down. The United Nations gave him a standing ovation this week, a place that doesn't normally know what it's doing. Now it does. For the Ukraine, Zelenskyy is the white knight of Kyiv. But to Putin, he's public enemy number one. And Zelenskyy knows what's at risk.
According to our information, the enemy marked me as the #1 target. My family is the #2 target. They want to destroy Ukraine politically by destroying the head of state.
The longer Zelenskyy is alive, the worse it is for Putin and the better it is for Ukraine. Putin knows this too, which is why Putin slipped a Chechen hit squad into Kyiv. But the assassination attempt failed as the Chechens were caught and eliminated, according to Ukrainian officials. And now Putin's become more ruthless. He's been committing war crimes, using weapons banned by the Geneva Convention, and directly targeting civilians. These are the actions of a terrorist, not the leader of a civilized nation. And earlier this week, Putin put Russia's nuclear forces into a heightened alert status, trying to strike fear into the heart of NATO countries and keep them out of the fight, while raising concerns across the globe that Putin was preparing for World War III. Russia's foreign minister, Mr. Lavrov, even went as far as to issue a warning that such a war will be, quote, a nuclear and destructive one. The United States has decided to lower the temperature.
In an effort to demonstrate that we have no intention in engaging in any actions that could be misunderstood or misconstrued, the Secretary of Defense has directed that our Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile test launch, scheduled for this week, to be postponed. And we did not take this decision lightly, but instead to demonstrate that we are a responsible nuclear power.
General David Petraeus is going to join me soon to discuss whether that was the right call. America cannot be caught flat-footed here, which is why I was encouraged to see our fighter jets in Japan showcased in an elephant walk formation, reminding the world that we're prepared for anything. While our country's doomsday plane, designed to protect high-ranking government officials from a nuclear attack, was sent on a 4-hour training flight. We are ready if Putin decides to make this a worldwide fight. But until then, we're still standing with President Zelenskyy and the Ukrainian people. We need to help him and do whatever we can to keep Zelenskyy safe.
How worried are you about President Zelenskyy? And do you think he should stay in Ukraine, or do you think he should try to leave?
I think it's his judgment to make, and we're doing everything we can to help him.
We need to help Zelenskyy as much as we can, but him leaving the country would be a severe blow to the Ukrainian army and the civilian resistance. We need to continue to send anti-tank weapons and missile defense tools to the Ukrainian people. As long as Zelenskyy remains inside the Ukraine, there is hope for his people, even if he has to go underground. The protection of Zelenskyy is priority number one for the entire Western world. He's become a symbol larger than life. He recognizes this and appears to know he may have to die in the capital to save his country. Despite their overwhelming military resources, Russia's losing the battle of morale. There are now reports of Russian troops abandoning their convoys, emptying their own gas tanks, and calling it quits, rather than fight their neighbors. There is a propaganda war going on with Ukraine. It's being fought on all sides, and Zelenskyy is the key character. The West cannot lose him. The Ukrainians cannot lose him. And so the United States must help execute a survival strategy to keep Zelenskyy and hope alive.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.